Hello guys and welcome to What the Clit episode number 65. My name is Adam Lobo.
My name is Vernon. Great to be back.
And it is great to be back for this particular Galaxy Unpacked special. The last time we had this Galaxy Unspecial, the last time we had this...
Galaxy Unspecial.
The last time we had this Galaxy Unpacked special podcast, I was all the way in overseas.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yeah.
It's nice to be here in the studio for a change because I have to be next to him, which is so much nicer. So this particular episode, we are going to go through the meat of everything mentioned during the Unpacked. It feels good because it's not on embargo anymore. I've been having lots of thoughts in my brain.
You've been very pent up.
And yeah, I just want to talk about what exactly is released. Some of the release I like, some I do not particularly feel what is the point kind of thing. I think we'll be diving into that as well. So let's dive in straight to tell everybody what exactly that Samsung has launched during this Galaxy Unpacked. 2 times a year is where Samsung release this kind of big releases, or 2 times a year they have the Unpacked.
Yeah.
This time around, they decided to unveil not 1, but 3 different types of foldable. Usually it's 2, but there's a brand new kid on the block.
Yeah.
And one of the things that was heavily rumored, and we talked about it, we created reels about it, we spoke to it, bought this particular product like many times here in the podcast as well, which is the new Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 8. Now, before we go into that, I want to know your thoughts about the whole naming scheme. Do you feel like this is a very confusing thing, or you think that it does make sense?
I'm glad that they didn't go with the name Wide.
Okay.
That's for sure. But I was a little bit surprised that it's now just plain Z Fold instead of something else. So they've bumped up the normal Z Fold to Ultra
Yeah.
and made it a little bit more like super flagship.
Okay.
Might make sense, but I feel there should be another Z Fold, which is a standard Z Fold instead of just the Wide. Maybe they're trying to trim the product line. It's kind of expanding quite a bit. Well, now they have 3.
So what you mean is what you meant is that you want to have a regular Z Fold 8, which is like a trimmed down version of the similar form
because you
factor.
may not need the best of the best. You may not need like
You just want a foldable
a
device.
foldable device that's kind of affordable in the foldable space.
So
at
that
least
would be
5 to
somewhere in
6
the
grand
middle
maybe.
between the brand new wider form factor. Oh, that's interesting. If you are within the marketing or the product managerial point of view, what would you name the current wide form factor if it's not Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 8 wide?
Maybe a plus.
Ooh.
Maybe.
Like a plus model, and then there's the Ultra.
Yeah. Because I feel now it's confusing for previous generation, maybe owner or maybe the general consumer. Because now the standard is completely different from, let's say, the Ultra.
Yep.
Which I expect maybe is just a little bit of a step up or a spec bump.
Okay.
But now it's completely different.
Yeah.
So it feels like a different product line to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we did our first impressions hands-on video. If you guys haven't checked it out at our main channel at Adam Lobo TV. Now let's go into the specs or what is exactly to be expected with this particular passport size Z Fold 8. The first thing is the fact that it has a new form factor, a 7.6-inch inner display, which is a native 4:3 aspect ratio.
So good. Perfect.
Like what you said, it always made sense that this is
What took them so long?
You know what's interesting? Based on research, right? The first Oppo foldable, the first Pixel foldable was similar form factor.
Yeah.
And then they decided to
I don't
go
know
back.
why it became
Why do
long
you think
and
so? I mean, like, is this because they found out that, Samsung is selling more foldables within this particular aspect ratio? That's why they went with that?
I feel it's being indecisive in the way that I think they assume that a lot of people also use foldables as just a single screen. Meaning when you're using it with one hand, it cannot be too wide. Which is why I think it became a tall form factor. Everybody kind of evolved into doing that. And everybody was comfortable with that because it's almost like a candy bar and it's not open. But remember the days of the Microsoft Courier, and I mean, like you mentioned, Pixel Fold. They were all kind of squarish, and I thought that was like the perfect form factor. And then somehow
Yeah, they decided
the
to change
industry
it back again.
ditched this idea of
Yeah.
this passport size thing and went all tall,
Yeah.
and became taller and taller. I think Samsung was the one who really pushed the tall
exactly.
part of it. Although other manufacturers actually did it.
Yeah.
But I'm glad, they finally come to their senses and given us something that I feel we needed in the first place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another thing that you all should know is the fact that it is 201 grams, and it is true. It's super light. When
200
we
grams is
shot
good.
the first impressions video, when I held it, I was like, wow, it's super light. It's so refreshing. Like even now when we are doing a lot of revisiting of older devices, one of the key factors is how light phones were those days. And I think that while phones are evolving in year 2026, we are so used to heavier phones that we forget how light flagships should have been.
Yeah.
Because like even at this point in time, the Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra is the lightest Ultra phone compared to any other Ultra phones. So what are your thoughts about the weight form factor? Is that something which has like almost slowly going away from flagships in general because the amount of tech put into the flagship phones? And do you like that move away from that?
I like the fact that it's lighter and thinner. 200 grams is actually kind of like a good base.
Exactly.
Because a lot of phones are like 250, some are even 260, 270, which is really heavy. But the good thing about it is that they didn't compromise on the battery either.
Yep.
So even having just a very light body, which is 200 grams, they've stuffed in a 4,800 milliampere
Which
hour
is really amazing.
which I'm very impressed because I don't think it's silicon carbon.
Yes, it's still not.
So if it was silicon carbon, it would be
Even
6,000 maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And it could also reduce the lightness significantly if you're going to use silicon
Exactly.
carbon as
So
well.
the next iteration of this,
Hopefully.
I'm sure we're going to get an even lighter foldable.
Do you think that the S series will have a silicon carbon battery?
Next gen maybe.
The next gen, which means the S27.
Yeah.
Do you predict
I
that
predict
fast?
yes.
Because I honestly feel like we are waiting so long.
It's 3-4 generations already.
Exactly. It's
Yep.
been too long that we've been waiting. And hopefully, because it's interesting how Samsung has still managed to make the devices light even without using silicon carbon
Yeah,
battery.
so how did they do that? It's a new body, right? It's
Yeah,
titanium.
it's a new body, but
Titanium isn't as light as aluminum, right?
Yeah, and that's why the iPhones have aluminum,
Yeah.
and that's why it's supposed to be lighter but still heavy, right?
So it can still be
It can be even lighter than now.
I think it's done on purpose.
right. So that could be, yeah. Maybe
so
they can
could
talk about it.
iterate the next one. Yeah.
That's exactly right. Battery has been bumped up. I mean, not to say there was a previous generation, but it has 45 watts of wired and 20 watts of wireless
But that
charging.
hasn't changed for the longest time, right?
Exactly. And there is a dual 50 megapixel camera setup. So the ultra wide and the main camera is a 50 megapixel, down from 3 from the Z Fold Ultra, which is the elder brother. What are your thoughts about the compromise of the camera?
It is a compromise.
Okay.
I think it could be price point, and I think it could be differentiation with the Ultra. So the Ultra gets the best of the best. Everything is in it. Everything but the kitchen sink kind of thing. But I feel they could have done with a triple camera setup. That would have been nicer.
Yeah.
Also being the first product, which is passport sized, it would have been nice. Unless they have a plus Pro Max version down the line,
Yeah, but one could argue about how, if brands like Apple and all are surviving with one camera.
True.
It's like at least they have two. And if the rumors were true, the iPhones Fold, whatever they're going to be calling it, again, is just pure rumors.
That's
so we
3,
cannot
right?
rectify that. It's 2 also, 2 cameras. So it seems like it's going head to head with that
Why
particular
do
phone.
you think that's the case?
Probably
I know we're diverting
form factor.
into
No, it's
iPhone
fine.
pull-ups.
It's okay. It's form factor and also probably the weight, because you include lens module inside. You are definitely going to be creating that, and of course the price. How do you price a 3 camera module phone to really bring it down as much as possible. So that's the thing. I don't think they are intentionally making it. Oh, I just want to have two lenses there. I'm sure there's a lot of thought into that decision, right? Yeah. Okay, so that would be for the Z Fold 8. Would you think that this?
What are your thoughts about it being a passport size
I really
ratio?
like it. Thanks for asking.
And I think you've held and played with it.
Yes,
How
I
does it
loved
feel
it.
in the
I
hand?
loved it, and I cannot wait to unbox the phone because we do have it here in the studio, and I want to do a typical unboxing and stuff like that. Because when I held it, I loved it, and of course, this time around the cream color is white. Oh, I love it. You all know I love white color
it isn't
phones.
actually cream.
So
it's
it's not
white.
like cream, you know, like they had this
beigey-
beigey cream. Oh, I never
Off-white.
liked that. So this one actually, although they call it cream, but it's white cream like Oreo cream. And
My first impressions when I saw pictures, I haven't seen it in real life. It's like,
next week you'll see it. Yeah.
this is it, man.
Yes, it is.
This is the foldable of 2026, at least for me.
One caveat though, a lot of people think that, when you play videos that, there's no black bars up and down. That is only if the aspect ratio is 4:3, right? So maybe if you watch Odyssey on a fold, then maybe yes.
Mini IMAX.
Yeah, then that is fine. You will still have the black bars up and bottom. For our videos specifically, because our form factor on our videos or our
16:9.
aspect ratio is a bit wider than 16:9, so you will still see that black bars. But one thing which really stood out to me was, of course, using the phone. It was nice. And with a slightly boxer shape or that particular aspect ratio of 16:10 when you close the fold. Because one comment came from Nicholas, which is very true, is that as much as the 4:3 aspect ratio makes sense, but the 16:10 aspect ratio is something that all of us as users need to get used to.
Yeah.
So that is one of the questions that we have to answer to all of y'all who will be watching our in-depth review of that. My first impressions, it was nice, it was refreshing, it felt brand new. It feels like phone have proper life again.
Yeah.
It does not feel like, okay, I'm just using a brand new phone just for the sake of. So at least it gives you that wow factor when you take it out from your pocket. It's like, oh, this feels refreshing. And we all know how Samsung does a very good job when it comes to the display. So for me, that is actually very exciting. And I can't wait for you to hold the device and get our first impressions of that as well. So that would be for the Z Fold 8. Now we'll be going through the prices of each of the starting price and the specs later on in this particular podcast as well. But before the price announcement, let's talk about the Galaxy Z Fold 8 Ultra. Like what Abang said, that it can be a bit more confusing for people who are used to this particular fold form factor and also this particular device. Because imagine that if you were to buy a Z Fold 7 and you are not very much into the tech industry and you're just walking by a Samsung store and you go like, huh, there's an Ultra? What's the difference between my phone and the Ultra? Now, there is a difference. We actually did a comparison chart here, which we will go through with you. This one was inspired by Abang Vernon because that's what he does. Now, in case you guys missed all of this announcement and all, if we don't see a video here, usually it is up on our website, which Vernon is managing, which is at www.adamlobo.tv, where you have everything on a written format. So if you do not have time to watch a video, or if you're just listening only, but you rather to read the specs and everything announced, you can check it out over there. So let's talk about the Z Fold 8 Ultra, Bang. Let's get your idea and what's new about this particular version and why is it called the Ultra?
I feel this is iterative. It's a spec bump, and they've obviously changed the nomenclature. But like you mentioned, an existing owner of a Fold 7 may be wondering what is so different about an Ultra, and I would tell them it's not much. If you look at the specs per se, yes, it's an update. Yes, you get a little bit better specs. But otherwise, if you took the Ultra word away, it could very much be just a Z Fold 8. So that's something to think about. It's not a major difference, I feel. And in terms of performance, I don't think there's going to be a huge leap in performance. Battery specs pretty similar, from 4,400 milliampere hour up to 5,000. Charging speeds are very similar. 25 watts to 45 watts.
Yep.
Wireless charging 15 to 20 watts. Yeah, a little bit of a spec bump.
Yep.
Obviously, it's also, I think, thinner and lighter as well.
Yes, it is. It is thinner at 4.1 millimeters unfolded and 8.9 millimeters folded. So the
and it's got a
unfolded,
new crease as well with the titanium flex technology. I don't know what that is. Maybe you could explain.
so titanium flex technology is where they have like a sheet of titanium just underneath, just to make sure that when it folds and unfold, it will give you not only that very strong, sturdy feel, and it will help you to unfold the phone with some extra magnetic help, but also to reduce the crease. Now, to be completely honest, the crease is still there. It's not as prominent than the previous generation. But what's interesting is that although we do not have the Oppo Find and the latest foldable, but for some strange reason, even though Samsung is Samsung is actually providing the display for the Oppo, but the Oppo
looks better.
Looks slightly less in terms of the crease. Now, unfortunately, we do not have the Oppo foldable here in the studio, but if you guys want us to do a comparison video, let us know in the comment section below and we'll do that.
So what if you compared the Fold 8 and the
Yes,
Fold
so
8
that is what
Ultra?
I'm
Is there a difference?
Yes, there is. So that is one of the things. For
Okay.
me, the visibility of the crease and how you can feel the crease is so much lesser on the Fold. Maybe because that kind of form factor was a bit more easier to get
You mean
rid
on
of
the
the crease.
Fold,
The Fold 8, the new form factor, the wide form factor. That one, so one of the ways where we can see is that if you turn off the screen, you just get a light to shine on the screen when it's turned off. That's why you can kind of see. But honestly, when you turn on the screen, both on the Ultra and the so-called wider form factor,
You won't see it.
then you won't see it. Honestly, you won't even see it. You won't even feel it. But if you really had to compare between the Oppo series, the Find series, the Find N series, it does seem, this is based on us seeing videos, right? We do not have the device here and for us to really compare side by side, but it does seem like the Oppo did a better job per se, but we do not know. We do have a comparison chart here between the Galaxy Z Fold 7, between the Z Fold 7 and also the Z Fold 8 Ultra for you all to know. So this is only the differences. The unfolded thickness is from 4.2 millimeters to 4.1. Not hell of a difference, but it's there.
0.1 millimeters. I don't know how you're going to quantify that.
The front glass, now this is at least very nice because their ceramic
Victus.
Gorilla Glass Victus is ceramic shield 3 compared to 2. The peak brightness is 3000 nits compared to 2600 nits, which already was very high for foldable. So that was actually quite interesting. Another factor which Samsung did not mention, which is quite interesting, is the fact that the new Z Fold 8 Ultra comes with a higher PPI or pixel density and also even a higher resolution of 2256 by 2504 compared to the previous Z Fold 7 of 1698 by 2184. So we're looking at a better resolution and also better PPI or pixel density value. There's the brand new Flex titanium technology, even though the previous one had the titanium plate layer. Corning Gorilla Glass ceramic for the covered display for 3. So that is something which you all need to know. It is using Snapdragon, and the good news is that in Malaysia, we have the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 variant. So the Snapdragon is available both for the Z Fold 8 and also the Z Fold Ultra, but not on the Flip 8. So in the UK and in Malaysia, it's still the Exynos 2600. Let me just double check. So yes, it's the Exynos 2600 processor. Other than that, there is a huge upgrade on the ultra-wide cameras because the Z Fold 7 was 12 megapixel. Right now, it's bumped up to 50 megapixel, which was true because during the day, the ultra-wide shots was really good on the Fold. But at night is where you start to see a little noise, especially the edges. So I'm sure right now, the 50 megapixel will be a huge of a difference. Even the Bluetooth version, something that Samsung did not mention, is Bluetooth version 6.0. So if you're using the Samsung Galaxy Buds or any buds and all, it's going to pair very nicely. But the biggest bump and a very welcome feature which has been upgraded is 5000 milliamps, because that was one of the complaints that people got on the previous Fold. So that is sorted. And also there's a bump on the wireless charging and the wired charging specifically, which is the 45 watts wired charging and also 20 watts compared to 15 watts last year.
15 watts.
Yeah.
Wow.
How long
That
ago
is
was that?
so many years ago.
Exactly. So I would say that the Z Fold 8 Ultra has a significant bump in terms of the overall specs. Maybe visually it looks the same because it's still an 8-inch display.
Yeah.
But I think having this small little, or some may look at it as small, some may not look at it as small, but I think like this amount, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, that's like quite a lot of upgrade compared to the Z Fold 8, but compared to the Z Flip 8. So before we go into the Z Flip 8, what do you think about this particular upgrade? Do you think that the Z Fold 8 deserves the name Ultra by coming up with these particular features?
In short, no.
Okay.
I felt there needs to be something more significant.
Like, give us an example.
I don't know, maybe new camera technology, some new chip.
Variable aperture.
Yeah, something like that.
To get that Ultra name, per se.
The
lah.
Ultra name. Like I said, it could be easily slept on, and it could be, the Ultra could easily be removed, and it will still be giving credit to what credit's due. It is still a good product. It's still an upgrade. Just that it isn't that level that I expect from an Ultra.
Okay.
Yeah.
But compared to the Z Fold 8, of course, the specs is so much better in that sense.
Yes.
So would you argue that you could call the Z Fold 8 a plus instead, since there's no middle ground, instead of calling it an Ultra?
Yeah. Could have been a plus easily, or Pro.
Oh!
They've never used a Pro for the Fold.
Everybody else is using because iPhone used it.
Yeah,
right?
they could have used the Pro. But I think, it is following the trend.
Yeah.
The S series definitely has an S and an Ultra, but you know that
The
for
S
the
series
Ultra
definitely has an S.
definitely has an S and definitely has an Ultra S. But the Ultra is the top of the line. It has, the best of the best specs, and that's something that you expect from the Ultra line. But this one, I feel, it doesn't live up to the name Ultra.
Okay.
In that sense, they could have done another one.
Okay.
This could have been standard.
Then
The
come with
base.
the Ultra.
The base Z Fold 8. Then it would have been. What about price point? Is it the same as?
I don't have a
the
comparison
Fold
between the
7?
last years. No, I do not have that.
Because imagine it's like $500 more than.
But we
the
have to
7
be
just because of
fair
the name.
because remember with the whole chipset and all the RAM pricing and all, because that
That's
has
true.
to also take into
That's true.
account.
That's
because I think that's one of the reasons why I didn't even put the comparison, because I think it's totally unfair to compare the price
That's
between
true.
last year and now,
That's true,
because
yeah.
looking at that factor. But we do have the breakdown of price over here, and it does not look something that is very affordable. Let's just put that way. But before we talk about that, let's talk about the final
Yes.
foldable, which is the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 8. What are your thoughts about that?
My thoughts is, what's the difference with the Flip 7? There really isn't much. Aside from it being lighter and thinner, which is always a good thing. But is that it? Unfortunately, yes. It is pretty much. Nothing much else has changed.
Yeah. From a hardware perspective, that is it.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, but again, you cannot expect a manufacturer to reinvent the wheel every single year, and it is hard.
Okay.
But personally, I feel that the Flip is at its last legs.
Wow.
And I feel that these form factors we might see the last of the Flip by Samsung this year.
Wow. Okay.
Because I feel that there isn't much innovation left, unless it's like super, super thin.
So if
we
you are a
haven't seen
product
much.
manager,
We haven't
how
seen
would
much.
you, if you had an idea, how would you make the Z Flip 9 a more wow factor?
Make it super thin and it's all glass and it's all screen.
Wow. Okay.
Something really different, because it's been 8 generations.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like 8 generations. I get your point.
Yeah.
But I still feel like there is a
the
market
biggest change was last year. This current generation, which is
Yes,
7,
exactly.
previous generation, was really good.
Okay.
Because that's the biggest change. Super thin, more squared out edges, that kind of stuff is very, very different. But now we're back to being very iterative. I think they didn't even have to release the Flip 8.
Okay. It's a very interesting claim that you said, but I would disagree because I think that the Flip still has a fan base, especially if you look into countries like in Korea or even in Malaysia. But remember how we had a conversation with Adam from Xiaomi about how the Xiaomi Mix Flip did not do well in Malaysia, which is not surprising, but at the same time, quality-wise, I think Samsung has always been on top.
Sure.
But I do know there's a heavy usage of the flip phone for the younger generation and specifically in countries like Korea.
Okay.
Because remember that it's still a more pocketable phone before the Z Fold 8 was released. But having said that, because the Z Fold 8 was released, that could also mean that we are seeing a near end of the flip. So you probably might be somewhere right over there, but I still feel there's going to be a proper crowd specifically for the flip.
Do you think that the Flip will kind of retain its form factor, the current form factor, if it were to exist next year? More or less the same?
Since Samsung does not take too much effort to change their devices year by year, they might just follow the same form factor. Maybe the Flip 10 might be something different. Maybe they might have a wider form factor to say that, oh, now the Flip 10 is a bit wider. So instead of it typically
mini
being
passport.
yeah, could be, right? So, but I don't think it's going to be going off like forever. But one thing that, or two things actually, which is not here in the notes, is that it's here, sorry. First is there's this thing called fan cam, which is a very interesting feature.
I thought it was so cool.
Yeah.
I thought that feature was quite cool.
Yeah, because again, the target market makes sense for this. Like imagine, so in case you all do not know this, so the fan cam feature, it's not only typically using the phone like a handy cam, it's not that. It's the fan cam feature specifically is like just said you have, you're taking a video of an entire group, like BTS for example, and just say if you want to focus on one of the band members or one of the group members, after you're done shooting, you can just select that under your edit tab and then you can immediately have like a separate video for that particular band member.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's actually very clever.
Useful.
Very clever. But again, it's not mind-blowing, but it's very clever from a software perspective. And also, because of how this one became unexpectedly viral, the horizontal lock feature, that is also available on the Z Flip 8 moving forward, which means that as a content creator kind of device, this Z Flip 8 makes sense for people who shoots a lot of videos as well. So from an software point of view, those are the two brand new ones. Of course, Samsung talked about Now Nudge and the other software features, but having used the Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra, the features mentioned is still very much based on the native apps, not so much on external apps like Telegram and WhatsApp yet. So hopefully when the next S series, we are at that point whereby it's matured enough, because this is one of the biggest worries that we have as consumers for Siri AI. Like how it gives you the context and all is based on the messages apps. Yeah. Here in Malaysia, we use WhatsApp and the best messaging app on planet Earth, which is Telegram, because we all hate WhatsApp. But it's still not talking to Siri AI yet. But then again, it's not Siri's fault and it's not Samsung's fault, because it's all up to our friends from Meta to do stuff like this, because the API is already open from Apple and also Samsung. It all comes down to whether or not they want to open it up to let Samsung devices read this additional stuff. Right. So that is actually very much important as well. Okay, let's just finish this off with the good and the not so good, Abang.
Yep.
So the
good.
let's start off with the good.
I guess one of the key innovations is titanium flex for the hinge, which is an underlayer underneath the OLED, making it almost crease free.
Yeah.
I guess. I haven't seen the actual one yet. So
Yeah. And also this prevents the long-term crease sag per se. Because of the fact that, some phones, the foldable, the 7 is still fine, but the 6 was a little sad because it did give some, like very deep crease after 1 year of use.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also did not mention specifically the good is the fact that there is the ergonomic hinge fixes. So which means that when you want to open up the fold previously, you need to slightly dig in between.
Yes.
So right now it has a slightly curved. So which means that because like people like us who
I think you mentioned in your video about fingernails.
Yes, exactly. So you do not have to have fingernails. You can have short fingernails. You can still open that as well. And it also passes the practicality test, like what Vernon has mentioned here, because the passport form factor on the basis Z Fold 8 makes reading ebooks.
Perfect.
And of course, preview for your photos when you open it, because it's a 4:3 by native resolution.
Perfect.
It is perfectly. So imagine you take your 4:3 photos on the phone. If you do not adjust the resolution, when you open the photos, it's full screen and with a bright new pic display, and the resolution is going to look good. So what's not so good about this, Abang?
I think I mentioned a little bit already about the Ultra.
Yeah.
If we're talking about Ultra, yeah. So I don't think it's a big enough upgrade
Okay.
to live up to the name.
Okay.
And price may be an issue. Obviously, it's a little bit more expensive than previous generation. And then I think there's a little bit of a compromise when you talk about the Z Fold 8's camera in the camera department. They could have put 3 cameras.
Okay.
And then something that we didn't talk about was S Pen support.
I just saw that, and you're absolutely right.
Yeah. So what do you think about S Pen support? And if
it's not something that I eventually use, but like what you say, if you want to tie in the name Ultra, it should be the best of the best, right? That's the reason why it's called the Ultra. So if you want to make the Ultra extra special, probably putting the S Pen would have that added that added factor. Is like, okay, this is the Ultra. This is the best foldable that you can find in the market today. And probably at this point in time, just putting the word Ultra into it does not fully justify the name Ultra. But I understand who is Samsung targeting, because in the end of the day, they are not targeting the super crazy specs nerds out there. They are going to be targeting the iPhone, because they're going to say that, hey, look, we have a similar version to the so-called form factor, but if you want even more powerful fold, then you can go with our different form factor, which is the Ultra. So that is something which is also very interesting. So yes, that is what we have over here in terms of all the different foldables released. Now let's just go through the price over here, because we spoke about everything else. The Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 8 starts at 7,299 ringgit. Now there is a 200 ringgit rebate on Samsung Malaysia, and this is of course the 12 gigabytes of RAM with 256 gigabytes of storage. Now the highest variant, there are 3 variants in total. There is the 12,256, which is the 7,299. That's the 12,512, which is 8,099. This one has 400 ringgit rebate if you buy it on Samsung Malaysia. And there's a 16 gigabyte variant with 1 terabyte, which is 9,699.
More than some laptops, yeah.
But there is an 800 ringgit rebate if you buy this. As for the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 8 Ultra, being an Ultra phone, after rebate is 7,899. Before that is 8,099 ringgit. Holy God. Again, not fully Samsung's fault over here because of the price increase of the components. 12 gigabytes of RAM with 512 gigabytes of storage is 8,899 ringgit. 400 rebate, so it's similar to the Z Fold 8 earlier. 16 gigabytes of RAM with 1 terabyte option is 10,499 ringgit. 9,699 after an 800 ringgit rebate. As for the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 8, It starts at 5,399 for the 12 gigabytes of RAM with 256 gigabytes of storage. After a 200 ringgit rebate, you're getting 5,199, which is okay for a flip.
Still,
Yeah.
kind of affordable for the
And the 512 gigabyte variant or the storage variant is 6,199, but after the 400 ringgit rebate is 5,799. Very interesting. Okay, other than that, Arun Maini or Mr. Who's the Boss says this, that after the phone, when they talk about the wearables, a lot of people turn off the event. Are you one of those?
turn off the event.
Meaning like, I don't know about when like how they'll do the main thing and then they'll talk about the other devices like the buds and the watches.
Well, I don't
and all.
turn off. I mean, I do
same
still
like
watch
me.
it.
I do watch all the way, but
Not terribly exciting, but
Yeah.
I still watch.
But to me, this is actually very exciting because Samsung has not released one, but also two wearables. So going through it very quickly, the Galaxy Watch Ultra 2. So this is their second version. Now, this is very interesting because it is really built for extreme performance. It features an 800 milliamps of battery and it has the world's first 5,000 nits
That's crazy.
smartwatch.
I think the question is, do we need 5,000 nits on a watch?
That's why in my first impressions video, I said that you can use the screen as a mirror under direct sunlight, so it's fine, right? It is also 12% thinner. I do not know who asked for this, but apparently a lot of people want their Ultra watches to be thinner. My argument is that I want it to be thicker because I like bigger watches. Like even the first Ultra, which on a watch was, of course, the Apple Watch Ultra. And when the Apple Watch Ultra came out, my first impression is that I wanted it to be bigger, actually.
I would agree with you because I think in the watch category is very different. People appreciate
Yeah.
different things.
Yeah.
And because it's also like a fashion product,
Yes. Really big, bulky watch,
some should be bulky
Yeah.
and some should be thin. You
Yeah.
know? So for an Ultra, I think being big and fat and macho is okay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's okay. It's not a must, but it's
a
okay,
must.
right? So I'm glad you agree with me with that. And the good news is that they're using the new Snapdragon Wear Elite chipset. I love it when they are having, and we even saw the big boss Cristiano from Qualcomm, who was there at the presentation as well. I'm sure we're going to be seeing TM Rowe back on the Snapdragon Summit in Hawaii. They also released the Galaxy Watch 9, and this is this is where the argument could come, whereby the Galaxy Watch 9 should be that slim form factor. People want to wear it for a day-to-day usage. There are brand new health tracking features. There's Vitals, which sounds very similar because, yes, Apple also has Vitals.
Biometrics.
But of course, I always like how Samsung does their overall software. And the software built in on Samsung watches is still a million times better than Apple's software.
You think
that's,
so?
yeah,
Okay.
that's one of the reasons why I go with a Whoop, or that's one of the reasons why there are other external party apps like Outsiders, which I met
Like
them and
Bevel
spoke to
and
them.
whatever.
Yeah, like Bevel as well, which I met the creators of Outsiders because they are one of the
a
award-winning app
What a
winners.
name, Outsiders.
Yeah. So it's quite interesting. I actually
Literally
did an interview with them.
Outsiders.
I literally interviewed them during the WWDC because they were one of the top 10 app presenters in WWDC, and very nice people. And what they're doing is that they're taking all the data from the Apple Watch and creating a separate app, similar like Bevel as well.
Right.
So yeah, I think from a software perspective, if you own a Samsung Galaxy Watch, you do not have to do that because the app is very extensive. Samsung Health has been around for ages, right?
Yeah.
And from their, like, they used to come out with the Fitbit style kind of thing. This is before even Fitbit even created
Yeah,
something
the
like
Gear.
that. The Gear series and all, that's actually very good. Even last time, the watch was not called a watch, it was called the Gear. Like the Gear S3 was my very first smartwatch from Samsung as well.
Which I really liked.
Yes.
So I was going to ask you, what do you think in terms of design of the Watch Ultra and the Watch 9? Because like the Watch Ultra is quite distinct. They did this squircle thing which is half square, half circle, right?
Yeah.
And then the interface is something different. So initially, I thought it was just so weird when the Watch Ultra first came out.
Okay.
And then the design kind of grew on me. And then when I saw it again with the Ultra 2, I thought I was like, hey, this is actually quite interesting in terms
Yeah.
of design.
Yes,
The
correct.
squircle concept.
So I really like the design. I think what I need to get used to is that I like the classic rotating bezels. And I know that it's not going to be available over here, but that is something that I'm going to miss because I have been using the Samsung Galaxy Watch Ultra, the first generation. It's in white, which is one of my favorites. But one of the things that I always missed is the rotating bezels. That's why I always go back to the classic. But I understand that this one has its own so-called market or the own so-called fans as well. But you're right about how the design is looking a little more unique and very Samsung-like because every other smart phone manufacturers are creating watches which looks like an Apple Watch.
Yeah, it's either square or like
Yeah.
this circle.
So
right?
I like how Samsung is making it a bit more distinctive and making it look like their own. So yeah, very good point there. In terms of pricing, the Samsung Galaxy Watch Ultra 2 starts at 3,399 ringgit, which is not bad.
For an Ultra, yeah.
I don't think that it's a huge of a increase in terms of the price compared to the smartphones of the world. The Samsung Galaxy Watch 9 has several variants. There is the 44 millimeter together with LTE, which is 1899. Very good price. The Bluetooth only version is 1599. But it's also a smaller variant, which is perfect for ladies out there. 40 millimeter, which is the LTA variant, which is at 1,799 ringgit, and the Watch 9 40 millimeter Bluetooth only is 1,499.
It's pretty comparable to Apple watches.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit more expensive actually.
It's very unique by its own, and I think if
It's a
you're
little bit more
within the
expensive.
Samsung ecosystem or even an Android ecosystem, this makes so much sense. So yeah, let me know your thoughts about these particular devices that has been released from Samsung. Do you think that it's a very high-rated kind of launch, or do you think it's meh? Let us know in the comment section below. Now let's go into the next quick news mention, which we'll get Abang to talk about this before we go to our favorite segment, which is Who Asked For This. So yeah, what is the quick news mention that you have here? Abang?
So very quickly, I mean, we know that because of the memory Ramageddon, it's impacted the industry a lot in terms of hardware prices. Whether you're building a PC, whether you're buying a Mac, smartphone, whatever not, doesn't affect fridges and TVs just yet.
Yeah.
But now in this, Apple has not been immune to these price hikes as we've known that in the first half of the year.
Yeah.
But the second wave has just hit July.
Yeah.
So it has hit services. So we've seen some price hikes in terms of Apple Music, Apple One, and it's not a lot of money, but like for the Malaysian market is 1 to 2 ringgit per month. Some people might make noise about that.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is though, Apple hasn't raised prices for the packages. So if you're buying a family plan or Apple One, there's no hike in prices. So I think they're also trying to push you into getting a family plan.
Yeah.
Or at least
Instead of
Apple
getting
One.
an individual kind of plan.
Because it is going to be much more expensive if you say you are subscribing individually to Apple Music, to Apple TV, to Apple Arcade. It makes much more sense if you are at least subscribing to 2 to 3 individual services to buy Apple One.
Yeah.
And as you know, Apple One you can share with family of up to 5-6 people, right?
Yeah.
Which makes sense. So that's it.
That's very
Pretty much.
interesting. And yeah, so of course, if you guys want to stay updated before the podcast, you head onto our website once again at adamlobo.tv, where Vernon will be writing the best and the greatest tech news that you all need to know. Okay, let's talk about Who Asked For This. And holy moly, this like holy trypophobia. What the hell is this?
Exactly my reaction when I first saw this, and I thought this was interesting because it had to do with audio, but not in the same vein as what we expect.
Is that wires?
Those are cables, they are audio cables, and what you see
Audio
here,
cables.
yeah, this is what you see here is something called the Volleback Sonic Jacket. I hope I'm pronouncing the brand right.
Okay.
Volleback is a company, is a design company, it's an experimental outerwear company. And these are the guys behind graphene and thermal camouflage jackets.
I don't know what.
So they've partnered Hollywood SFX costume house, FBFX, who also did costumes for movies like Dune, The Martian, Project Hail Mary, so pretty awesome stuff. And to engineer this sonic jacket. And what's interesting is this white puffer coat is lined with 180 inward-facing micro speakers.
So there's speakers in the holes lah. Holy mother of God.
So you may be wondering, why is this jacket having 180 speakers? And it's not to project out. It's not for you to listen to it. It's inward facing. And the backgrounder of this is that, humans and frequency and sound has been, we've been experimenting with this for thousands of years. You imagine if you go to, let's say, an old place of worship, there is science behind it that it vibrates at a certain frequency.
Oh yeah, that's true.
To keep you calm
yes.
and peaceful.
Yeah,
and
that's very true.
And whether it's drums around fires that you have, when you are performing, or you're chanting in stone chambers. These are all sound-related things that help us. It kind of affects us in different ways, the rhythms and stuff like that. And this jacket is exactly that. And I like how they described it on their website. They say, maybe you'll orgasm, maybe you'll shit yourself, and maybe you'll find God. So maybe you'll want to be careful where you wear it. So I like it very much.
How does this work? I'm trying to understand. So does this like paired to your phone and then you play music, or?
So there is.
So it's because the speakers are facing inwards, obviously,
Yes.
right? So you're saying, like, for example, if I'm going to play Slipknot, like the double pedal, am I going to feel the double pedal? Is that how it works?
It is. So it's going to give you a frequency of 4 hertz to 20,000 hertz.
Wow. Okay.
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 From 32 millimeters micro speakers, they are all around.
Okay.
And it actually has a built-in MP3 player,
Oh.
preloaded
Okay.
with 10 preset frequencies. It also has a micro SD slot, which gives you maybe 1,000 custom sound profiles. So depending on what you want to feel and how you want to be in your mental space, right? You can select these tunes. It also has a companion Bluetooth app layer, so I guess you can pair it with your phone and do stuff like that.
Mm.
It's very interesting, but it's gonna cost a lot because it's a custom-made device, and it's currently listed as price on application. So I don't know how much it's gonna cost. Probably thousands.
But the more
Seeing that these guys do prototypes for movies and
so
stuff.
there's a promo picture which shows him with a hoodie at the back.
It's pretty cool, right?
Which does not make sense, because if you're going to put a hoodie at the back and not put it over your head, so how are you going to listen to the music?
I don't think you technically listen to the music. You are feeling
Feeling
the
the
vibration.
music.
Do you know?
Sorry, that's not my shit, man.
Both of us are cat owners, right? We know
Yeah.
cats, and cats purr and they emit this kind of vibrations, and it's supposed to be healing for them, and also for people.
Oh, yeah, correct. That's true.
And for
That's
people
scientifically
around.
proven.
Yeah,
that
scientific
cats,
proven.
Oh, and memang
So,
when Luna purrs
again,
at me,
this
I feel
is
so
this
good.
is the same concept as physics. It's and I think it will help organs and us, our human bodies, to physically shift cognitive and.
So it's not technically used to just
psychology
listen to
brains.
music, like
No, it's not to
beyond
listen to
that.
music.
Okay, but imagine wearing this into an airport. You're gonna get security stopping you because it
don't
looks like a
think-
bomber jacket, right?
I don't. Yeah, you're gonna get shot in the head, or
Yep.
you're gonna get arrested.
Yeah.
But I do not recommend you wearing it in public. This is for you to enjoy at home, maybe in your living room, where you need to relax,
Okay.
to be in some sort of mental state at peace. You know?
Wow. Okay. So who
Quite
asked?
cool,
For,
right?
So who asked for this, and would you buy one?
I would buy it if I had the money, but it wouldn't be something for me to wear in the public, like, obviously.
Okay, got it.
What about
I never asked for
It's
this.
too weird.
Unless you tell me it's a music listening device. I understand how frequencies work, but rather Luna just at me lah. I think it's much more better. Okay, so very interesting one as well. If you guys are interested to check it out, we'll also put links at the description below as well. Let's look into the community segment. This time around, like we mentioned last week, that the community poll will be released every Monday instead of Tuesday moving forward. The reason why, because we just wanted to get more people into it. And this time around, Vernon has asked, Samsung is dropping its new foldable. So this goes back to the main topic of this podcast, where this new foldable has a passport white screen layout and a brand new crease reducing display material. So if the crease is something that will be stopping you buying a foldable or not, or are you totally over the crease? So that is the question that we have. And the first vote on the list here is people, whether or not you still feel it's a deal breaker because zero crease, or I just stick to a slab phone. That is one of the votes. The second vote would be either it's a non-issue for you, where you can just literally forget that it's there after 2 days.
Yeah, specifically the crease lah.
Yeah, the third one is the aspect ratio matters more, because give me a white cover screen and I'm sorted. And the fourth vote is that the price is a real problem. Wake me up when it's under 1,000 USD. Very good point. And the highest vote is the price factor, which is wake me up when it's under 1,000 USD, which
When
is
September
almost
ends.
yeah, which I think it's not going to be the case.
4,000 ringgit.
I doubt it, because imagine the foldable has been around for how many years, right?
You have the old ones which are like 3,999.
Yeah, but the old ones, you know what happened to our Z Flip 7, Z Fold 6? Ask Nicholas and see. There's a
What is
display
the
problem. Yeah. Not the line, but there's like a black color dot at the bottom. I was so hurt. I'm like, why, bro? So that's the thing, right?
It's kind of interesting, isn't it?
Because
It's like a
imagine if you
phenomenon.
buy the older foldables and you have that issue and there's no warranty per se. So I think when it comes to foldables, do not buy older foldables, because you have a huge risk of this happening to you.
But when you're talking about the price point, right, the price bracket of, let's say, 4,000 ringgit, there are devices out there, but I think not available in Malaysia. If you're
Yeah.
looking at like the Razer in the US,
Even like Techno and all, they also have... Yeah.
it's only 3,000 ish.
Yeah.
If we
But now with the
convert it.
price increase, it's even more obvious that you're not going to be getting a very good price for a foldable, bro. So that is one of the things. The
if you don't have
second
8-9
yeah.
grand to spend,
Exactly.
I think you
Yeah.
can't buy a foldable.
Then the second one would be, the highest vote is, the crease is the deal breaker. Zero crease, or I just stick to a slab phone. The third highest vote is no issue, because I literally forget it's there after 2 days. And the last one is the aspect ratio. What is your vote over here before we look into the
My
comments?
vote is aspect ratio.
Okay, got it. Okay.
My vote is aspect ratio.
Okay.
Although I technically cannot afford it. Because
Okay.
it's still not under 1,000
Yeah,
thousand
it's
US
true.
dollars.
My vote would be non-issue, because I honestly been using the Fold form factor since the Z Fold 1 was released. And I never had an issue with the cover screen then, because I like new technology. And the crease is something that I got used to. Yes, I know it's there, but I never had an issue. The fact, it seemed like how I always tell people last time, but now it's possible. It's like, you are not going to go around and complain about how your like your $50 note has a crease when you fold it, right? Because that's expected. So yes, there's a lot of technology, but for me, being a kind of user who have been using foldables as a daily device, I honestly literally forget that it's there. Yes, I do see it, but it does not bug me as much. So that would be my first vote. My second vote would be the aspect ratio. Now, I'm not voting the price factor, because as a tech reviewer, we do not buy the devices. We actually get to use it as a review unit and then we give it back. If I really want to go out and buy it, I will sell something and buy it. So that's how it is. So yeah, that is my vote per se. Let's look at the comments. We have the current comments. Let's just quickly click this link and then we'll see the comments as well. Now, there are 77 votes with a total of 4 comments. We have Ayani says, I don't want them at any cost. Okay, bro. Point noted. This is J3 says, crease tech is so advanced nowadays that it's barely visible. But then again, it will probably be more obvious with time. Hence why the whole titanium flex technology is there, but I get what you mean.
Okay.
Nicholas Wong says that durability is still the biggest concern for me, which I can agree with what he's saying. And then Dr. Dinaj Naib says mechanically clamshell design, flip or fold encounters problem versus the block type form factors, even back from time of legacy mobile phones first generation design. That being said, the issue is with the flex itself. That's exactly what I meant, because
He sounds intelligent.
Yeah.
Dr. Detch.
well, he's a doctor, of course. But yeah, good point, doctor. Thank you so much for voting. And as usual, like I said, that the current place where we'll be actually doing this voting is on our main channel, Adam Lobo TV, just before we have it here on the main channel as well. So that is what we have for the community questions for y'all. And make sure to stay tuned every Monday this time around at our main channel for you guys to participate and give us your thoughts as well. In terms of video releases, we released one video, which is of course the first hands-on impression videos of the whole folds and also the Samsung Galaxy devices. Coming up next, we'll be having, of course, our in-depth review of the Z Fold 8 because we have it here in the studio. We also have the Samsung Galaxy Watch Ultra 2. That is another device which is also in the studio. We'll be reviewing that alongside with the Z Fold 8 as well. Also coming up soon, we'll be doing a revisit of a very old phone. I'm not going to mention. So that one is something that you guys need to make sure to join us. And also, one of the things that Nicholas did last week was to go through our smartphone showcase, like a glass showcase, to make sure that all the phones still work, to update the software to the latest generation if there is, and also to charge the phone so that it doesn't become bengkak. But yes, half of the phones there all gone case already. So yeah, you'll get an update from our video review or the video that we're going to do about that as well. So with that, we'd like to say thank you so much for joining Vernon and I for episode number 65 for What the Click. My name is Adam Lobo.
My name is Vernon. See you in the next one.
Bye-bye.